Mindful Living podcast. I'm your host, Sana, as always, and we explore practical ways to optimize your health, mindset, and overall well being on mindful living. Now, today's conversation is one that has sparked endless debates. The topic, which is sugar versus fat. What's the truth when it comes to fueling your body for natural weight loss? We have all heard about conflicting advice. Some say fat is the enemy, while others claim sugar is the real culprit, kind of demonizing way. So, what's the science-backed truth, and how can we make the best choices for long-term health and sustainable weight loss? And to help me uncover the truth about this, I have someone who's challenging the mainstream health narrative and helping people unlock their body's full potential. Naturally, Dr. Cody Golman is a holistic health and mind body optimization expert with a background in chiropractic care, neuroscience, and functional health. His approach is all about getting to the root cause rather than just treating symptoms. And sharing a bit about Dr. Goldman with all of your listeners, he specializes in helping women over 35 break free from fatigue, weight struggles, and hormone imbalances without relying on extreme diets or medications. And today he's here to share his powerful insights on how to rewire your metabolism, reset your body's natural rhythms, and finally understand the role of sugar versus fat when it comes to fueling the body the right way. So, let's get quickly started to the conversation, listeners. So, Dr. Cody, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor having you with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Great. So, Dr. Cody, let's get straight to the topic. So, there's so much confusion about sugar and fat. Sugar, fat. They're like two evil twins out there. So, can you break down how each one affects our metabolism and why they have been so misunderstood?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that pretty clearly. And to tell you that, you need a little background.
Mhm.
In the 1960s in America, there was a Harvard research that researched why people were starting to get more heart disease. And what they researched in Harvard Medical School was they were trying to research whether or not fat was causing problems, was causing people to get fat, was causing heart problems, or was it sugar? So they did this big
Mhm.
Harvard research. Now, the results of the research showed that sugar was
Mhm.
actually making people fat. However, a company called the Sugar Foundation paid Harvard medical researchers to falsify the evidence before it was published in these American medical journals, which carries heavy
Mhm.
weight across the world. The American
Mhm.
medical journals stated in this research that fat makes people fat. Now, the Sugar Foundation paid to falsify this research. The reason they did that is
Mhm.
because they created something called the low fat craze. So now people started to think that fat was bad. And what the companies could do was remove fat and add sugar, which was much cheaper. Now, over time,
Okay.
what happens is sugar specifically is an addictive drug like heroin or cocaine, and it disrupts the body's natural
Mhm.
balance, and it contributes to
Mhm.
chronic disease, right?
Mhm.
Even if you look,
Mhm.
there's a book called Sugar Blues that traces through ancient times, showing how
Mhm.
sugar became a staple for countries that were wealthy. But within a few hundred years,
Mhm.
those countries would be taken over by someone else because the people were eating sugar because they were weak. So we now know that sugar actually creates inflammation. It weakens your immune system. It's addictive. There's withdrawal involved with it, and so it's interesting because the what really they created was a false belief that you need to eat low fat, right, and sugar's okay.
Mhm.
Now we're starting to realize, at least you look in America and across the world, a third of Americans in the USA are overweight. One third, and rising. And
Yeah.
it's become so bad that now they're starting to call, they're starting to even create obesity as an epidemic. But it's funny because it's not an
Mhm.
epidemic that somehow found us. We created it.
Mhm.
So the science
Mhm.
behind this is that fat is the best, most clean burning fuel you have as a human being. You have a higher IQ when you burn
Mhm.
fat. You have more energy, less disease, better sleep, and better emotional balance when you burn fat.
True. That's true. That's very, very true. And thank you, Dr. Cody, for um, sharing this. I think um, we never really tried, or maybe we really haven't been made aware about the history of all this. So I think it's very much interesting and very important because I feel like for years we were told fat was the villain, but now we are also seeing more research saying that sugar is the bigger problem. And we really got a lot misled into this. So moving on to the next, many people struggle with sugar cravings, and I'll also include myself. So, especially midnight or when we are working continuously for hours, sometimes we uh, tend to get those sugar cravings to give that kind of adrenaline rush or maybe that, joy. So, what are the root causes of these sugar cravings, and how can we retrain our bodies, rewire our bodies to crave healthier foods?
Well, it's important to understand when you say you're having a sugar craving, what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, your body is designed to burn fat as a fuel source. You were born as a fat burner. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
the first thing that could be happening if you're craving sugar is that your hormones have been reset to burn sugar as a fuel source. So you may not just be you just trying to, I'm just craving sugar. The way that happens is if you've had stressors in your life, if you've overeaten sugar, bread, cereal, rice, pasta, and if you've overdrinking alcohol, you've probably created yourself to be a sugar burner. So this isn't just you craving, you literally use sugar. Now, how do you know that you're a sugar burner? How do you know if you're a sugar burner or a fat burner? Well, it's very easy. If you have 5, 10 plus pounds of fat on your body, you are a sugar burner. Why do I say that? Because your
Mm-hmm.
body isn't using the fat anymore. Here's another way you know sleep is not as good, energy is not as good. You're starting to have a little more symptoms and aches and pains in the body. That's another way you know you're a sugar burner. When you burn fat, you have stable energy, stable sleep, stable emotions. Anxiety and depression can also be a sign you're burning sugar. So understand it's not you don't need to just cut sugar out of your diet. You must reset your hormones back to being a fat burner. Okay. And there's a whole process involved in that. But I want to make sure people understand it's not just you having to avoid sugar. Your hormones are most likely seeking sugar. So you are working against your hormones if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is I find that most people are under eating the right things. Okay. When you undereat,
Mm-hmm.
when you don't eat enough, when you fast, when you skip meals, your brain is wired to seek sugar. Listen again what I said. When you skip a meal, when you don't eat on time, your brain is wired to seek sugar. Why? Because you haven't given it the proper fuel it needs. And now its only choice is to find sugar, which is the easiest fuel to break down. It's the most terrible fuel, but it's the almost easiest fuel to break down. So that's important to understand those two things.
Mm-hmm. True. True. Oh, um, that's such a powerful way to look at it. So instead of just having more willpower, it's really about understanding what's happening in the body and then making shifts from the inside out. You also, you know, keto diet, it has been really very much in trend. and other low carb or high fat approaches. So what's your take on that, Dr. Cody? And are they sustainable? Are they really do they really work, or do they just cause more harm than good in the long run?
Well, let's look at the facts.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are on the ketogenic diet who actually keep the weight off? I'll tell you, I have
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of people who come to me who do the ketogenic diet. And you got to understand, it's not even about ketogenic diet. Anything that you do that is a temporary thing, it's not sustainable. Any diet you do that doesn't allow you to actually learn what your body needs, it's not going to last long term. And so, from what I just mentioned to you about those two things, ketogenic does not reset your hormones. Matter of fact, I have a lot of people, what ketogenic ends up doing is causing them to eat less and doing calorie deficits. Okay. And so
Mm-hmm.
one of the funniest things about the ketogenic diet, and let's ask you this. If you put fat in your
Mm-hmm.
mouth, do you think you're going to burn fat off your body? Let me ask you that question.
No, until unless I'm doing any activities or some kind of uh activity or exercise to burn that fat or something. It's not fueling my body. It's just sitting idle there. It's going to just get simply deposited.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it's interesting because inside that ketogenic, of course, it's low carbs, but you're eating
Mm-hmm.
fat. Your body has no reason to use the fat storages on it if you give it fat. It is completely backwards.
Mm. That's that's really, really eye-opening.
So by the time someone comes to me,
Oh,
they go, Dr. Goldman, I do ketogenic and I fast. And when I explain this to them, they go, oh, wait a minute. Wait, what'd you just say? If you put fat in your mouth, you're not going to lose fat off your body. It is so simple and so clear. This is false messaging and it's not true. The ketogenic will not allow you to burn fat off your body. Matter of fact, what it'll do is have you start burning muscle. And that's why people feel so lethargic. When you burn fat, when you truly lose fat, you feel freaking amazing. You feel on top of the world. You know you're burning muscle on a ketogenic diet when you are just literally tired and lethargic and your head spinning. That's what happens with most people. But listen, you got to understand this has been going on for a long time. Ketogenic is just one of the fads that's coming around.
mm, wow. So, would you say that, Dr. Cody, that keto is more of a short-term reset rather than a long-term lifestyle?
Say the question again.
Yeah. So, would you say that keto is more of a short-term reset rather than a long-term lifestyle?
No, ketogenic does not reset your hormones. It does not
Mm,
work to reset your hormones. Matter of fact, watch what happens when people finish ketogenic. Remember, you just put fat in your mouth. You didn't burn fat off your body. So what did you actually reset? What are you actually resetting?
yeah, understood.
There's no hormone reset that's done in ketogenic. It's great to have, bring they call it lower carbs, but you got to understand, you don't need to lower your carbs. You need to lower your simple carbohydrates. So,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to increase your proteins. But again, if you're trying to lose weight, why would you put fat in your mouth when you're trying to lose weight? It's like this. If you drove across the country in a car and
Mm-hmm.
you ran out of gas, and I drive by and you flag me down and you go, "Hey, I ran out of gas." And I looked at your car and you had 30 gallons of gas strapped to the outside of your car.
Yeah,
That's what fat is on your body, okay?
right.
And you go, "Hey, I'm just out of energy. I have no more gas." And I go, "Yeah, because you're not using the fuel tank on you." So if you keep filling up the fuel tank with the fat in your mouth, you don't use the fat on your body. There's no reset that happens.
Mm, makes sense. Makes really good sense. Thank you, Dr. Cody, for explaining that. And also,
You got it. You got it.
yeah, but since you mentioned about hormones, they play a major role in weight gain and fat storage. And when we talk with the perspective, especially for women over 35, I think it becomes more and more crucial to acknowledge and address this concern. So, how does this balance between sugar and fat impact hormone function?
Yeah, so let me just say it simply to you. Fat, if you are a fat burner, you will have
Mm-hmm.
healthy hormones and menopause is very gentle. If
Mm-hmm.
you are a sugar burner, if you've created a sugar burner body because of stress and excess simple carbohydrates and sugars, your hormones will be screwed up and menopause is terrible. Okay. So there are many hormones involved in this, but there's two of them. Leptin and ghrelin are the ones that point towards you being hungry and full, or they point towards fat or sugar. So
Mm-hmm.
understand that age is not a factor in gaining fat. Let me say it again to the women listening. Age is not a factor in gaining fat. You don't get fat when you get old. That's not what happens. It's that you stress yourself out during your 20s and 30s. You've eaten a lot of sugar, and now your body seeks sugar as its primary fuel source. Whatever you give your body most of, it becomes efficient at burning. And again, how do you know that you become a sugar burner? You're carrying fat on your body. Your brain is not recognizing fat anymore, and you most likely have become tired. You've got some kind of other symptoms, thyroid problems, digestive issues, anxiety, depression. So that's important to understand is that hormones are not a cause. Hormones are messengers. The causes are different than the messengers. So if you don't identify the causes, that's why so many women go to doctors and get hormone replacement therapy, of which it doesn't fix anything because you're just changing the messages and the messengers. You're not actually changing the cause.
Hmm, that makes so much sense. So much sense. So, um, of course, on the flip side, um, some and there's a growing movement that says people should stop focusing on macronutrients like sugar and fat altogether, and instead they should focus solely on whole foods and intuitive eating. So, do you think tracking macros is necessary, or can people trust their bodies to tell them what they need?
Well, in your question, it's important to make a distinction that
Okay.
macronutrients are also and can also be whole foods. So macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. But
Mhm.
those macronutrients, those are inside whole foods.
Mhm.
So you of course you want to focus on eating whole foods. The more important thing is you want to take out unprocessed foods. Like stop eating unprocessed foods. They're killing you slowly. So, we do not I don't have one patient count calories and count macros. I don't find that to be sustainable. I think you gotta be a mathematician, and you gotta be really interested in your health, to continue something like that. I haven't found one actually, I've only known 2 people who've done that successfully, and they are both nutritionists, and they both are neurotic about counting their calories. So, I don't have people do that. I have people tune into their body. You don't need to count calories, you need to tune into what your body's telling you. That's more important.
Hmm. Agree. Agree. Great. Great. So, Dr. Cody, if someone wants to start making healthier food choices, but they're really feeling overwhelmed, what's that first step you would advise they can take today to improve their metabolism and start burning fat naturally?
I would recommend people go to the fast40weightloss.com or find me on YouTube, Dr. Cody Golman. I've got a ton of free resources, free books, free webinars, and there's a ton of free resources that will help you push you in the right direction and stop the unhealthy dieting trends like ketogenic and fasting. Start. You cannot starve yourself to healthy. It's never worked.
Mm. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Goldman. I think this has been such a practical and enlightening conversation, breaking the myths and, deconstructing everything and then giving the right information, the right guidance. And really loved how you simplified, you gave examples, on these complex topics to help us understand the why behind our body's responses to food. So we have the details mentioned in the show notes. And thank you so much, Dr. Cody. This was really a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I appreciate the questions. Hopefully that helps everyone.
Yep, absolutely. And to all of our listeners, if this episode has given you a new perspective on sugar, fat, and fueling your body the right way, be sure to share it with your friends, your family, your loved ones, or colleagues, or anyone who would need to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe to the Mindful Living and also let us know how we are doing. Keep this conversation going on. Until next time, remember that your health is in your hands and small changes can really lead to powerful results. So stay mindful and take care. Thank you.